I know in the past I've complained about Uber Eats delivery, lack of customer service support when I've had issues. I will say that as of recently, they have seemed much more responsive and much faster in providing solutions to issues for me as a delivery driver. Maybe the location I'm in, I don't know. Maybe the fact that I've done a lot of deliveries recently. But I will say that their customer support has been a lot better, a lot more responsive now as opposed to a few months ago when I was in Waco, Texas, and I was trying to use the app to do deliveries. So that's a good thing. That's definitely progress on their end, which is good. It's a good thing. That was one thing that I had a big problem with for working for them, and it's definitely improved. At least I've noticed improvement just in a few months. So it's good. Plus, I also figure that if the amount of views my content gets now relative to similar content is any indication of how shitty my content is, if my content gets better in the future and it progresses, people can see how terrible my content was in the past and how much my content has progressed if it gets better into the future. So there's always even shitty content, because of progression and improvement, there's always a place for it. I don't think it's that bad, but it really doesn't perform well at all. I don't do the proper SEO usually when I upload. I have more fun making the content and just vlogging and showing the stuff that I do and showing the places that I go. But if it gets better, if I make more renovations to my van and my van progresses and my van improves and I get a different one in the future, or I get a tiny house, or just things change, I look at YouTube as, I probably don't look at it as most people look at it. I look at it as a digital video encyclopedia, as hashtags are built, as content is linked to keyword, different types of keywords and stuff, and it just kind of is like this growing video encyclopedia. That's how I see it. And then I also see my channels as, I don't see them as like shortcoming ways of like trying to make money and not work. I see them as like lifelong projects. So YouTube's only been around for like 15 years, so I plan on making content like the rest of my life. So they're like lifelong projects. My content, my channels, maybe I'm not doing anything related to a van in 20 years, but either way, they're lifelong projects with room for progression, and that leaves a comparative element to my content. I don't know what these things that are floating around. There's all these floaty things. What the heck are those?
It's like flurrying in my van. I don't see anything outside of the camera lens. I don't know what those are. They're spirits. Ow! Oh, my foot. Oh, boy. This jumper pack isn't even fully charged. I left it charging in my Jackery last night, and it's at 0%, and it didn't even charge the battery. So that tells me that as this jumper pack's getting to a full charge, the energy it takes to charge it exponentially grows by so much. Because when I went to bed, it was at maybe 12, and now it's at 12.5, and it's only at 3 out of 4 bars. And this one, like, I don't know, to go from like 11.8 to 12, maybe it takes like 10% to 20%, but it took literally, I don't know, like over 50% of my Jackery to charge this from like 12.1 to 12.5. Needless to say, this jumper pack is really powerful when it's fully charged capacity. Transferred money from an emergency stash investment, technically a retirement fund that I had, just to hold me till, I don't know, either I get back to Austin or Uber Eats updates my account. But I should have a good amount of retirement money transfer into my account in about a week, maybe 10 days. And that amount of money I'm going to use to get Lasik. Probably cover that with my, I have an HSA account from my last job with about over $2,000 in it, $2,500. So I'm going to probably, I don't know, use my HSA card if I can for, you know, what it'll take off for whatever Lasik costs. Maybe it'll only be $2,500, or use the money that I have and then reimburse myself with my HSA account. Either way, one of my retirement funds that I withdrew months ago, like, I don't know, 4 months ago, I didn't take out tax deductions for it, and it was technically a Roth IRA. In order to not suffer tax penalties next year, I did some research. I can spend the same amount of money in medical expenses, and I won't get a tax penalty if I do that, and that's what I'm going to use the Lasik for. I'm not sure how much I need to spend, but I think Lasik will be plenty. It should be, I don't know, I think it was around $3,000 near Washington, D.C., so I'm thinking it might be maybe $2,000 in Texas, in Austin, Texas. I think Texas is one of the cheapest states for Lasik. So I have very complex plans in this dome. Once I get Lasik, it'll give me more confidence. It'll help with my PTSD. It'll help with my anxiety. I'll be able to work out easier. Confidence boost will help me work out. It'll be cooler. I'll have more money, so I can maybe get motel rooms. Between, you know, washing up, not using a ton of resources, having access to running water, having a cool area to work out if it's so warm, having a nice, private area to rest, to do work on my laptop, to do SEO stuff. So I'll figure out some kind of a schedule, try to combine those resources that I can use in my arsenal to do what I want to do and build myself up. I watched interview from the guy who did the Incredible Hulk in the 70s, and he got made fun of a lot when he was younger for having a speech impediment because he had something wrong with his ear. That dude was one of the only people, he might have been the only person to ever act in a superhero role and not wear a costume to fill that role. That's pretty cool. And just, you could tell from the power that it gave him, he never wanted to go back. And I made the mistake of, I worked out really hard in high school, and then I got confident. I went to college. I worked really hard in the library, and made sure I did well in school. And I kind of stepped away from the gym because I didn't think that the superficial society was going to bombard me for not working out and not being as confident as I was when I was, at the end of high school and when I was in college. We live in a very sad society. It's just the truth. It's the way it is, and I'm going to fucking beast it, so. In addition, like the transition from being a structural engineer for like almost 2 years and then being like a project manager in both the government and the private commercial sector, that track that I took and the amount of time I spent in different roles horribly deteriorated my social skills and even my willingness to just socialize and associate with people. And that's pretty terrible. No job should ever do that to anybody. I'll talk about that in that list that I made yesterday. But yeah, society sucks, and you can either let it bitch you out or you can make it your bitch. It's gonna be my fucking bitch.